Hello everyone, I am Monalisha Padhi. I am a legal intern at Lexis and Company, and I am a third year student of BBA LLB, and I am pursuing it in Bharati Vidyapeeth New Law College, Pune. And today's topic is command appointments to women. 2020 came out wrong for multiple reasons, but in terms of gender equality, that year came out to be wholesome. First, the judgment relating to permanent commission of women in Indian Army and subsequently for permanent commission of women in Indian Navy has changed the history in the area of defense. Secretary Ministry of Defense versus Babita Punia and others 2020. Important experts from the judgments are 70 years after the birth of a post colonial independent state, there is still a need for change in attitudes and mindsets to recognize the commitment to the value of the Constitution. This is evident from the submission which were placed as a part of the record of Apex Court. Repeatedly in the course of the submissions, Apex Court has been informed that the profession of arms is a way of life which requires sacrifice and committed beyond the call of duty. Women officers must deal with pregnancy, motherhood, and domestic obligations towards their children and families and may not be well suited to the life of a soldier in the armed forces. A soldier must have the physical capability to engage in combat, and inherent in the psychological differences between men and women is the lowering of standards applicable to women. An all male environment in a unit will require moderated behavior in the presence of women officers. The psychological limitations of women officers are accentuated by challenges of confinement, motherhood, and childcare. The development of women officers is not advisable in areas where members of the armed forces are confronted with minimal facility for habitat and hygiene. The submissions advanced in the note tendered to Apex Court was based on sex stereotypes premised on assumptions about socially ascribed roles of gender which discriminate against women. Underlying the statement that is, it is a great challenge for women officers to meet the hazards of service owing to their prolonged absence during pregnancy, motherhood, and domestic obligations towards their children and families is a strong stereotype which assumes that domestic obligations rest solely on women. Reliance on the inherent psychological differences between men and women rests in a deeply instant stereotypical and constitutionally flawed notion that women are the weaker sex and may not undertake tasks that are too arduous for them. Arguments founded on the physical strength and weaknesses of men and women, and on assumptions about women in the social context of marriage and family, do not constitute a constitutionally valid basis for denying equal opportunity to women officers. To deny the grant of permanent commissions to women officers on the ground that this would upset the peculiar dynamics in a unit cast an undue burden on women officers, which has been claimed as a ground for excluding women. The written note also relies on the minimal facilities for habitat and hygiene as a ground for suggesting that women officers in the services must not be deployed in conflict zones. The respondents have placed on record that 30% of the total women officers are in fact deputed to conflict areas. These assertions, which have extracted broadly from the written submission, which have been tendered before Apex Court, only go to emphasize the need for change in mindset to bring about true equality in the army. If society holds strong beliefs about gender roles that men are socially dominant, physically powerful, and the breadwinners of the family, and that women are weak and physically submissive and primarily caretakers, confined into a domestic atmosphere, it is unlikely that there would be a change in mindsets. Confronted on the hand with a solemn policy decision taken by a union government allowing for the grant of permanent commission to women, uh, SSC officers in 10 streams. The court, on the other hand, a whole baseless line of submission solemnly made to deduct from the vital role that has been played by women SSC officers in the line of duty. That's all for the topic today. Thank you and